So recreational marijuana may soon be legal in Maryland. That's what a working group in the State House of Delegates is looking at right now. Recreational weed is already legal in D.C. and 17 other states, including Virginia. Well, now the House Speaker in Maryland, Adrienne Jones, says she supports putting the issue on the ballot. Now, Maryland has decriminalized the possession of small amounts of marijuana, but recreational use overall is still illegal. Now, the group plans to change that. The House of Delegates plans to put the question of legalization to voters in 2022. If approved, the House is working to have pot legalized by January of 2023. So there are a lot of issues at play with passing such a plan. You got to talk about licensing. How are you going to tax this? Also have to discuss racial equity and criminal justice. So to take a closer look at all those issues, we've invited the work group's chairman, Delegate Luke Clippinger, to talk about the issue. So Chairman, thanks for coming on with us tonight. So your group laid out this plan for legalization yesterday. It touches on a wide variety of topics. Could you just briefly sum it up for us, the plan?
Well, after 18 states and the District of Columbia have legalized cannabis for recreational use, we knew that this was an issue that was going to come before us, and we wanted to look at the common steps that each one of those states took as they went about the process of legalizing cannabis. And so to that end, we set out a plan where we're going to take it apart. We're going to look at the criminal law impacts, the healthcare impacts, the licensing impacts, and we're going to take a look at them and do a deep dive into all of them, while at the same time preparing and putting a referendum on the ballot in 2022. I think that we'll be able, through this process, to have a solid way forward and a solid way to regulate and properly tax the production of cannabis in Maryland.
Are you finding widespread support? Are you finding widespread support within the General Assembly, and are you hearing any strong opposition either within or external to the Assembly?
I think that there are going to be people who have concerns in the legislature. I think there are a lot of members of the legislature who strongly support the legalization of marijuana. And as you mentioned, we've taken steps over the last several years to steadily lower criminal penalties, then eliminate criminal penalties, effectively decriminalizing marijuana. I believe that we are moving in this direction. I think that with this step and with so many different parts that are part of it, including issues related to the licensing in particular, and making sure that we deal properly with issues related to equity, right. Particularly for Black and Brown Marylanders who have been disproportionately harmed through the criminalization of marijuana for so long. That's the work that we need to do, and we need to do carefully, and we need to get it right.
Now, part of that equity is going to involve ownership of dispensaries. I know that that's been a big focus of the group, having this sort of racial parity. So how's that being discussed?
Well, that's one of the issues that we're going to be discussing and that we're going to focus on. I believe that's going to be in our November meeting. It is clearly one of the biggest impacts that we want to seek to address and ameliorate after years and years of marijuana being criminalized. We want to find ways that the legalization of marijuana can help communities that have been negatively impacted.
Right.
The specifics, we aren't there on the specifics yet.
Right.
We're going to be there here in the next couple months.
Right. We're really early on here. One thing that I find rather interesting as we go into the weeds of this proposal is, the House Speaker, for instance, she wants to make legalization a ballot referendum. And now we hear that the state Senate president suggested he'd rather pass a bill in the Assembly to get this going. So what are the benefits to giving the voters the decision here, and why not just have it make the General Assembly decide this and then get the governor's signature?
I think that having a step-by-step process, a careful process, is very, very important as we deal with really, really difficult issues here. And I think that by putting it on the ballot, we take the step of giving the people of the state of Maryland the opportunity to buy in and to say, as a state, this is something that we want to do. And then we can get the details right, get them, spend the time truly to get the details right so that we can avoid some of the pitfalls that other states have faced.
Right. I think that's a key thing here that a lot of people will appreciate, a slow and methodical process. Delegate Clippinger, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet.